What would you do if the people you trusted, the people you thought were innocent, were actually manipulating everyone around them for money? What if a simple act of kindness came back in ways you never expected? You're about to hear a story that's as shocking as it is satisfying, and I promise, it will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very end. Hi everyone, I'm Jane, and before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because stories like this, full of betrayal, manipulation, and a little poetic justice, are exactly what we share here. When I was 18, I started dating a girl. She was sweet, kind, and seemed almost too innocent for the world I lived in. Homeschooled, raised in a Christian household, adopted, everything about her screamed wholesome and safe. I didn't know then what I would discover about her family, and honestly, I couldn't have imagined it in my wildest nightmares. Her family seemed typical at first. Her dad had a construction business, her mom stayed home. Life was normal, until an accident changed everything. Her father got hurt at work. His arm caught in a garage door, and suddenly their financial stability was shattered. But what happened next was something I could never have predicted. Her family, especially her mother, began systematically claiming disabilities for all the children, and it went way beyond what seemed normal. One by one, every child was suddenly diagnosed with some condition. Mental health issues, learning disabilities. It became a pattern. Her mom was at the center of it all, seemingly charming to the doctors and the system, but manipulative behind the scenes. The checks from the government went directly to her, while the children, including my girlfriend, were used as a means to an end. I remember the first time my girlfriend confided in me about it. She admitted that she had been coerced into faking dyslexia, and even though she was capable of normal schoolwork, she went along with her mother's plan. I was shocked, horrified even, but part of me also understood. She was a child under immense pressure from a parent she loved and trusted. Her mother didn't stop there. She took over as the children's personal caregiver, earning $16 an hour for each child, which meant $64 an hour in total. But here's the kicker. She didn't actually spend any time with them. She was living a luxury lifestyle while her children were mere pawns in the scheme. My girlfriend showed me the pay statements one day, just to prove how extreme it had gotten. Seeing the truth in black and white made my stomach turn. At this point, I had been dating my girlfriend for about a year and a half. I wanted to do something thoughtful for her family, to show appreciation despite everything. I thought, let's get her mom something she loves. I purchased tickets online for her mother to see Journey, her favorite band, as a Christmas gift. It seemed like a simple, sweet gesture, but little did I know, it was about to become a powerful chess move in a game I hadn't even realized I was playing. Around that time, my girlfriend wanted to move in with me. I agreed. When her mom found out, it was like the world collapsed around us. She exploded, claiming that me taking her daughter away would financially ruin the family. The PCA payments, the income she was getting for supposedly taking care of her children, would stop. And in her mind, that made me the enemy. Her mother launched into accusations, blaming my faith because it was different from theirs, saying I was only after the SSI payments. In reality, I had wanted nothing to do with the system. I made enough money to support both of us, and my intent was to help my girlfriend break free from the manipulation. Her father even threatened me physically. My girlfriend was caught in the middle, torn between loyalty to her family and the life she wanted with me. Ultimately, she felt forced to choose, and she broke up with me. For a while, I was devastated. Heartbroken, angry, frustrated, but life moves on, and I needed to secure a place of my own. I got accepted into a nicer apartment, but I was $300 short of the security deposit. And then, I remembered the tickets I had bought months ago. The Journey tickets, still in my name, waiting for me. I logged into Ticketmaster, scanned the page, and saw the sell option. In an instant, an idea sparked, and I acted on it. I sold the tickets. Instantly, the deposit was covered. The apartment was mine. 7 months after giving those tickets as a gift, I had converted them into my independence. 2 weeks later, my phone blew up. Her whole family was furious, calling me all sorts of names. My ex reached out, telling me that I had made her parents so mad. I smiled, a sick grin, because I knew exactly what had happened. Her parents had driven hours to the venue, only to be turned away. They had tried to find someone reselling the tickets, but the show was completely sold out. Poetic justice in the most satisfying way. The moral? Don't be a piece of crap to others, or life has a way of giving you exactly what you deserve. I don't regret it, not one bit. I had been patient, kind, and had shown nothing but respect. But when manipulation and greed interfere with honesty and love, sometimes a little karmic payback is necessary. If you've ever been in a situation where someone's greed or manipulation hurt you, remember that sometimes patience and timing are your allies. And if you love this story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. We share stories of justice, betrayal, and drama every single week, and you won't want to miss the next one. After that moment, I couldn't stop thinking about her family, the way they manipulated the system, the way they treated their own children as nothing more than income streams. It wasn't just greed, it was a kind of cruelty that left a mark on everyone around them. And me? I had been naive enough to think a simple act of kindness, buying those tickets, would be enough to please them. How wrong I was. I remember lying awake that night, replaying everything in my mind. I'd watched my girlfriend struggle under the weight of her parents' manipulation. She wanted freedom, she wanted love, and yet she was torn apart by guilt. I understood her loyalty, but I also knew that her parents had no right to control her life through fear and financial pressure. And that fear, it had spilled over onto me. I started to reflect on my own actions, and I realized something important. Kindness is powerful, but timing and cleverness can amplify it. I hadn't just sold the tickets. I had reclaimed my power. I had turned a symbol of manipulation into a tool for independence. And watching her parents scramble, furious and helpless, gave me a satisfaction I hadn't expected. But it wasn't about revenge. It was about balance. Life had simply corrected itself. The irony of it all wasn't lost on me. Here I was, an 18-year-old trying to do right by a family that seemed respectable on the outside, and yet they were playing a game I hadn't even realized existed. A game of control, deception, and greed. And their children, my girlfriend included, had been collateral damage. I thought a lot about my girlfriend too. She had been sweet, innocent, and honest, but trapped in a world where honesty was exploited. I couldn't blame her entirely. She had been raised to obey, to comply, and to defer to the authority of her parents. Yet, at the same time, I could feel the injustice deep in my chest. I wanted her to be free, to see the world beyond the walls her parents had built around her. And I had tried to help her. And in the end I had, even if it wasn't in the way I had initially imagined. Selling those tickets wasn't just about the apartment. It was about reclaiming control. It was about saying to myself, I will not be manipulated. I will not be used. And for the first time, I felt the weight of my own power. The sense of freedom was intoxicating. 2 weeks later, the reactions from her family started pouring in. Messages, angry calls, and even confrontations. I could almost hear their shocked voices in my head. How did this happen? Who sold the tickets? Why were we turned away? And honestly, I smiled. Not cruelly, but with a sense of justice finally served. My ex reached out to me after hearing the news. She told me how furious her parents were, how they had driven for hours only to be denied entry at the gate. She admitted she hadn't expected me to actually sell the tickets, that she thought I would leave them as a kind gesture. But I hadn't. I had acted in my best interest, and in doing so, I had also opened her eyes to the reality of her family. I'll never forget that moment. The mix of emotions, vindication, relief, and a strange sense of sorrow for my ex, was overwhelming. I realized that sometimes, people's manipulations will collapse under their own weight. Sometimes, you don't have to fight them head on. Sometimes, the best way to protect yourself and the people you care about is to quietly act in a way that forces truth into the open. I also reflected on the subtle brilliance of it. I had bought those tickets with good intentions, yet they became a tool for asserting my independence. 7 months later, the simple act of selling them gave me not just a new home, but a statement. I would no longer be held hostage by someone else's greed or control. I had chosen my life over someone else's manipulation, and yet I wasn't done learning. I had been young, and I had been in love, but life had a way of teaching lessons that no classroom ever could. I had learned about trust, about boundaries, about the complexities of human nature, But above all, I had learned about resilience. I had been knocked down by betrayal, manipulation, and heartbreak, but I had gotten back up, and with style, if I might say. I often think back to that time now, with clarity I didn't have back then. It wasn't just about tickets or apartments or even my ex. It was about standing up for yourself when others try to use you, about recognizing when someone's kindness is being exploited and reclaiming it in a way that strengthens you rather than destroys anyone. I also realized how delicate relationships can be. My ex and I had shared something beautiful, but the outside forces, the manipulation, the greed, the toxic family dynamics, had tested us in ways that were impossible to withstand without harm. And yet, even with the breakup, I don't resent her. I understand she was a victim in her own way, just as I was finding my own way through the chaos. I started thinking about life lessons. Sometimes, the people we try to help the most are the ones bound by chains we cannot see. Sometimes those chains aren't just figurative, they are financial, emotional, and psychological. And sometimes, the only way to free yourself is to take bold action, not out of spite, but out of necessity. Selling the tickets had been bold. It had been clever, and yes, it had been satisfying, but it also reminded me that fairness, justice, and self-respect often require us to act in ways that others might not understand at first. And that's okay. Looking back now, I can say without hesitation that I don't regret my actions. I protected my independence, reclaimed my power, and learned lessons that will stay with me for life. The ex's family learned a lesson too. Their manipulation didn't go unnoticed, and it didn't go unpunished. Life has a funny way of balancing the scales, especially when you quietly play your part correctly. And to anyone watching, hearing this story, remember this. Kindness is a gift, but self-respect is essential. Boundaries aren't just rules, they're armor. And sometimes, the most dramatic twists in life don't come from planning or revenge. They come from simply acting wisely when the moment presents itself. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Here, we share stories of betrayal, drama, and justice. Real stories that remind us life isn't always fair, but there's always a way to reclaim your power. You're not alone, and together we can navigate these twists, turns, and moments of triumph, one story at a time.